In today's video, we are reviewing the GOYOJO GR225RF thermal scope. And what we want to know is it good? How good is it? Is it viable for airsoft? And is there even a point? Let's start this off by just mentioning that I grew up at a time where airsoft was simply me and a couple of my buddies running around in the woods hoping nobody saw us and plinking each other off with replicas we got off Amazon. Fast forward 15 years later, and I went to my first Milsim game hosted by American Milsim and realized right after the sun went down, I was at a disadvantage because everybody had night vision. We're talking gear that cost as much as a used car. I really thought there was no end in sight when it came to this disadvantage. That was, of course, until I got a message from GOYOJO and they asked if I wanted to share my honest opinions on their thermal scope. I'm going to do everything in my power to be as unbiased as I can be because I have never gotten to review a thermal scope before. And I am losing my mind. But there's a lot of things we have to do, cover, and test now, so let's get into the unboxing. For less than a band, this minimalist, clean, sleek black box will show up at your door, and you'll have the luxury of unboxing the GRS225RF. Along with your new scope will come the mounting hardware and the Allen key needed to do so, the manual, a charger, and inside the battery compartment, not initially, but you'll find the CR123A batteries. And I cannot stress this enough. If you're new to the world of heat scopes or thermals, I really suggest you read that manual because this thing is relatively thick and it is loaded with information, and this is not just like your regular scope. This is like a dang computer. I'm going to try and cover this thing as best as I can. I'm sure that I'll make a mistake here and there. If I do, please feel free to let me know in the comments section below. Let's do a deeper dive and then we'll go test it out. Starting off at the back, we have the rubberized eyepiece cover, and this just allows you to keep any light out of your eyes when also sealing your face closest to the lens so you can get a better picture of the screen on the inside. Just in front of that is this dial. This is your diopter, which just allows you to adjust the focus onto the screen or reticle so you can get a better picture. A little further forward is your first user interface with 3 rubber buttons. We have the camera button, which allows you to take photos or record videos, the power button so you could turn her on, off, or make it go to sleep, and then the pseudo color button. This button's important because it actually allows you to adjust your color palette so you can pick up different heat temperature signatures as well as different color patterns. Just on the side of that, covered by a small little rubber cap, is actually your USB-C import where you can charge the scope with the charger that came with it. Up front here is the menu in OK, or your adjustment knob button. Now this will allow you to access the menu, make adjustments to the scope, adjust your zoom, and then also scroll through the different options inside of the mini computer system in the GRS22. Tethered to that with a little rubber strap is this cap, and if you unscrew it, you will notice, just like we spoke of before, is the CR battery. Now, I know we can charge it. This actually has the ability to run not only on battery backup, but also its internal battery. So in case you want to just charge it and run it without the battery, you can, but if you want to back up for some extra battery life, well, you got a battery too, and that is sealed off by an O-ring, so it will keep moisture and water out, which is also great. The 2 rings that also come with it and allow you to mount it to the rail of your sniper or the rail of whatever you are using comes with a setting of 4 screws on each that will attach the top to the bottom, and then a small little dial that allows you to attach it to the rail. So you can actually access this on the go if need be. You don't actually need any sort of hardware tools to take it off of the rail if you need an emergency. Towards the front of the scope is the next wheel. This is your objective focusing wheel, and this will allow you to get a sharper image with whatever it is that you're looking at. It also, again, has no clicking. It is just a smooth, non-grindy spin. And then, of course, in the front, plastic, and it pulls off to the side, is your lens cap to just protects the front lens from any damage. Now let's not forget this box on the side of the front of the scope. This is your measuring distance device, otherwise known as what I believe is your LiDAR sensor. So this does in fact measure distance and share with you a reading on the screen when you're looking down sight, which is absolutely crazy that that even comes as a feature. May I also add, the overall construction is rock solid. The entire thing is made out of this nice smooth aluminum, as opposed to some of the plastic and rubber parts that are on it that are essential and have to be. When it comes to mounting it on your replica, it is very simple. You're going to want to make sure that you move those adjustment rings based off of how thick and wide your rail is. You're just going to go ahead and loosen those two knobs as far as they'll let you go. They don't have a whole lot of room to them, so some of the thicker rails might have a little bit of a hard time, but this does just barely fit on my Silverback TAC 41. Now, once you get these tightened on down, I highly recommend getting an Allen key and just making sure that they're totally tight by jamming it through the hole and giving it an extra half of a turn. That'll just make sure it keeps it from moving and make it easier for you to hold a zero. And that, my friends, isn't going anywhere. Before I let you get a better look at what this thing looks like when you peek through it and we field test it, let's get into some of the nerd stuff. So if you're not into that, you might want to skip this part. Now, when it comes to key features, this scope is not lacking. However, we will be the judge of that, but let's just talk about what it says it has. Now, aside from the things that you would expect, like your rangefinder actually being able to find ranges, clear sight pictures, and a friendly user interface, we actually come installed with a 1440 by 1080 OLED display screen. But its optical lens also comes at 25 millimeters with an optical zoom of 3.5 times, a field of view of 7 degrees by 5.3 degrees, the diopter adjustment of -5 to +5 diopters, focus range of 5 meters to infinity, a detection range of 1,300 meters, and the rangefinder is infrared? Yeah, it's infrared, with an eye relief of 65 millimeters and a digital zoom of 1 times to 8 times. There's a whole lot of other cool functions, but we're going to talk about that as we look into the scope. The camera on. My father's in the distance, so thanks, Dad, for standing out there. And now what we're going to do is turn on the record button. And I should, in the top right of the video now, be able to pull up what is coming up on the camera so you could see what I am looking at. And you'll see we have like a black and white image now. I will also try and label all of the things that you can see through the camera screen, like all the batteries, the profile, the distance, the direction you're looking. It is just absolutely ridiculous. You can see all of these things. And if you hold the menu button down at the top, a menu is going to pop up, and it's got an entire menu wheel of all of these different settings that you could pop through, including Bluetooth and audio. Yeah, there's audio, which is absolutely insane. And we'll turn the audio on now. You should be able to hear it. This is the audio coming through this scope. I have no idea how that's going to sound, if it's going to sound even remotely good at all, or if it's not. We probably won't know until later on when I go back to this video. And I'll give you like a better understanding of how these things all work. I'll throw up an image on screen now. And continuing on forward, let's see some of the crazy image options that we have. If you want to just start kind of walking back and forth a little bit to the right, to the left, not too far, but like, yep, that's about as far on the left side and then the other way. And then kind of just do some trotting back and forth. And if you hold that little like sun button there, you can come up with different images. You can see it turns the heat signature black and everything else bright and white. This is like more of a snake. You could see him walking around. He's like bright orange like the sun, like green, and then a light green with like a green background. I'm sorry, I'm colorblind, but just so many different settings. I really actually like this one. I think we're going to keep it like that for now, and we'll turn off our recording. Now, I did also want to mention something really cool with the recording function is if you put on a certain setting, you can actually get it to record the moment it feels recoil, and it'll backtrack what you just were viewing for the last like 15 to 30 seconds, and then get the shot, and then stop on its own. Now, you were likely wondering the same exact thing that I was wondering. Oh, come on. That thing that I was wondering. I got it. Obviously, in real still, this wouldn't matter because you wouldn't be able to see it except for the shot anyway. But can it track BBs? All right, camera is on. We're going to rack our bolt, and we're going to see if we can track the BB through that thermal imaging. Here we go. Oh, did you see that? Oh, you could totally see the BB. It's not as clear, obviously, as a regular scope, but you could totally see that 100%. And you can even see it when we hit the target. That is so cool. That is so cool. Dang. I am so sincerely sorry for this monstrosity that I'm about to show you, but I needed something that I can use to turn on a tracer unit so we could see if tracer unit as well as nighttime shows the BBs any better. So all we're going to do is go ahead and rack the charging handle, and we'll turn on the recording of the scope now. And let's go ahead and pull the trigger. Obviously everything's going to be completely dark here. And let's see if we get any... Oh! That's a solid visual indicator. I hope the camera's picking that up. Let's switch off our mode. That's too bright. Let's go for that infrared. Oh, that's crazy. Full auto. That's insane. Now, obviously, I don't have my father here to showcase these because he is not available anymore. That is crazy. So obviously it works at night, and tracers are absolutely evil on this thing. So being the end of this video was filmed at night, I obviously just took this inside because I want to wrap things up, and if I do it outside you won't be able to see anything. I'm currently ripping some of the footage out onto my computer so I can get it ready for editing, and I just want to say I am thoroughly impressed. Now, I don't particularly know what the longevity of this thing's going to be, and I'm assuming some of the lenses will be pretty strong, but if they get shot by BBs, for example, I don't really know how they'll fare, so keep that in mind. You're going to want to protect them. But for a budget thermal scope, and my first thermal scope, I have to say I am not only thoroughly impressed, but geeking out a little bit, and this may also just be added to one of the coolest things that I now own in my Airsoft collection. So thank you, GOYOJO. If you want to check it out, I'll leave something down here, and I guess I'll catch you on the next adventure. Maybe next time I catch you, you look bright red, and I'll only see your heat signature. Peace.